Hey guys, thanks for sticking around. Okay, sweet. I'm gonna talk real quick. Maybe we can do questions in the Ubers back. But why token voting is here to stay. There's been a couple of haters throughout the day, I think we've seen, especially towards the beginning. But we know that token voting is the most long-lasting, enduring form of voting for decentralized organizations to date. I'm Coolhorsegirl, the new GTM at Tally. Tally is a decentralized governance front end that serves as a comprehensive platform for DAOs from beginning to end of life cycle. I thought this picture was funny. This is like my current PFP, the bottom one. And then the top one was like my first one that I made, both of them on Midjourney. But token voting's been there the whole time, from beginning to end, right? So I'm next an index coup, DAO participant across the ecosystem, and I'm a big token voting guy. Learned throughout various DAOs and on-chain organizations and off-chain organizations, believe it or not. So we get into what token voting is. Token voting is essentially a quintessential mechanism for community-driven decision-making, especially in decentralized systems. It's determined by the number of governance tokens held. So it's basically, it can be one-to-one, or you can do a form of this. So I'll go over a few of these, just so you can keep them in mind as we're going through them. Most token voting systems are using quorum voting. So quorum voting is like the most basic DAO governance mechanism. It's, for a proposal to pass, a certain number of DAO members must participate in the process. If the threshold has been met, the highest winning yes or no goes through. If the threshold isn't met, nothing goes through. Some other forms that are used is quadratic voting. This is popular in Gitcoin, and it's like a bit more complicated, you know? For a proposal to pass, it multiplies the amount of tokens that you have. So if you have 2 tokens, you get 4 votes. If you have 3 tokens, you get 9 votes. So it sort of squares, I guess. Another one is liquid democracy. That's basically forced delegation, where you have to delegate to people. That works in systems where it's really high expertise needed, and you want to rely on delegates instead of sort of random community members. Convictions, another interesting one. It uses time as a utility. So members can vote on different in-progress proposals, and the longer their vote remains the same, meaning they stand by that decision, the more weight their vote holds. That's just another form of token voting. It's not really different from token voting. And lastly, we have the multisig vote. That one's also token voting because you're essentially giving DAO members the power to signal on proposals via token vote, and then letting an official council execute that vote in sort of a centralized way. So I'm going to talk about why token voting is here to stay. Basically, DAOs run every critical function through token voting. A lot of it's on Tally, big chill, right? But there's DAO formation, like the high DAO that's coming out of Reflexer, protocol operations, including security council specs, risk updates, and treasury management, just funding various things, salaries, working groups, events, whatever. So first, let's talk about ease of use. Token voting is simple as fuck, literally. It epitomizes transparency and on-chain verifiability. That's important for audits, especially in crypto. It's nice to know what people voted, right? If you think of like Walmart, the executive board of Walmart, right? They're probably not doing token voting, but they're probably doing, you know, a forum of sort of this like simple majority, where certain people, maybe with higher positions, have a greater weight in the say, maybe the CEO, and then lower people will have less of a weight in the say. But at the end of the day, no consumers of Walmart are going to have any idea what individuals on the Walmart board said. That makes token voting the exact opposite. It's, you can verify what people said, and then you can decide if you want to keep them in power as both an employee and a consumer. When we think about onboarding people to DAOs, it's unlikely that we want to onboard like our parents, right, to these sort of DAOs with super confusing voting mechanisms, which is good. It's comprehensible for community engagement, right? You own more tokens, you get more votes. Simple as that. This one is maybe the biggest sell. Token voting is a tried and true governance method for numerous prestigious projects, right? So we have like Aave, Uniswap, Arbitrum, ENS, Nouns, Hop, and Gitcoin, all which operate on Tally as well, and all which use token voting, some in different forms than others. The widespread adoption of the governor standard, right, which is Compound's initial baby, underscores the community support, which we know by now, right, is so important for DAOs to function, to have that community belief that they actually do work and things actually will happen. Incentive alignment is also one of the most important things. You can amend token voting so it works how you want. As I mentioned in the beginning, when we talk about Quorum token voting, that's just one form of the 10, and that's the ones that are popular right now. Really, you could make up any game theory, integrate it as token voting, and do that. So token voting can be tailored to align with the incentives of all stakeholders. I'll give a few examples. Transferability is for if you want to make sure that your vote is not economically driven. So if I work at Index Coop and I'm worried about people buying Index and then having a bunch of say in governance just because they heard that it'll move because they're getting a Coinbase listing, I can make the token non-transferable. That'll make it so you can't hand it around and maybe a little less bribery going on there. SafeDAO does that currently. If you want to make sure that voting power is allocated to contributors that have actual interest in the long-term success of the DAO, that aren't just there because they want it to moon, you can do vesting. Hedging Finance offers this, a number of others do as well. And then lastly, we have Quorum, right? The simplest variant changes at an appropriate level of quorum for your community. You have a really disengaged community, you can make the quorum low, and then you can still make things happen. If you have an engaged community with a lot of opinions, it's better to make the quorum high. Which is cool about token voting. You can build your community with your goals in mind. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Scalability. Did notice to say for this one, so put can be scaled. Interoperability with token standards ERC 20 and ERC 721 make it a super scalable solution because it fits in with the existing blockchain infrastructure. Basically, with this, as Ethereum upgrades, so can token voting. For example, as Tommy mentioned earlier, that time block upgrade was not initially available when token voting was quote-unquote invented. So we've upgraded that, and then DAOs are able to do more with their token voting and customize it even further. Finally, effective go-to-market strategy. Go-to-market's so important, right? We've learned, especially during the bear, token voting can significantly amplify the visibility and community engagement around projects. It's participatory, so it gets the community actually going, right? And this is what crypto's really about. I heard a few people say using the tech available to us is important, especially during the bear. And that makes good sense with this one. Okay, now to address the potential haters. So I'll just run through a few, probably the biggest issues that people say with token voting, and then I'll try to solve them as best I can. I'll caveat this right now. Token voting is sort of the best situation we can think of right now to handle decentralized organization governance. Vitalik even wrote an article against token voting and has since moved away from that sort of opinion outright because he sort of settled into this opinion that Tally has and I have, that this is the best and we can do what we can to fight these issues. So first, let's talk about susceptibility to economic tax, like vote buying, bribery, and other manipulations. This one, I said earlier, locking periods for tokens or vesting schedules can make it so people can't vote if they just buy a bunch because they think it's going to moon. Implementing methods for more equitable token distribution can reduce the concentration of power. That can be airdropping to a greater group of people, airdropping based off of certain actions on chain instead of maybe just like using the product, quote unquote, and limiting the number of tokens that one single entity can hold. Finally, I'll give audits and compliance with regulations, just like we just talked about. This doesn't happen, as commonly in the stock market. So at the end of the day, once regulations start hitting, it shouldn't happen in crypto. Next, financial speculation, and that can cause misaligned values. So half the team in your DAO, right, that owns whatever index is there because they think it's going to move once it hits Coinbase, and half the team is there because they believe in the project and have been working 8 hours a day at it. That's a bit of an issue, obviously, but tokens as a voting mechanism have a market price, which is mostly based around speculation, right? Separating out the voting power from the financial aspect would be a good thing in theory, and some DAOs do this, but it's a complicated one. It's sort of, in a way, I guess people said this too, like, it's both an opportunity and a feature and a bug. It's like, you want people to want to vote because they have vested financial interest in your DAO. When you want the DAO to go up, you're probably not going to make stupid decisions, or you're going to try your best not to. Even though some of this is financial speculation, it could help the DAO in both the short run and the long run. Finally, with financial speculation, you can also do non-transferability or offering NFTs as votes. There's a DAO in Tally called Content Guild, and for that one, it's basically everybody is a member of the DAO. They have general discussion. Once you write a few articles, elevate yourself to like a level of expertise within the DAO, then you get an NFT airdrop to you. From there, you can vote on governance decisions, verifying that all people making governance decisions have been sort of vetted by the DAO via their actions, like a true meritocracy. The solution, this is potentially the toughest one, because people do it. We saw it in like recent votes, like Arbitrum Security Council votes, recent Arbitrum votes, where people make last-minute changes because they think that that'll somehow elevate other ones to the second, it's a whole game theory thing. That one could be conviction voting. I'll speak a bit for this. I know Moloch DAO is experimenting with it, but that's the one where how long you hold on to your vote time-wise, it weighs more or less. So like all things in crypto, the key to the success of token voting is interoperability with the blockchain ecosystem and the flexibility to act according to your exact needs of your DAO. That's why it's really cool. I believe in it, Tally believes in it, and I think that's why token voting is here to stay. My Twitter is Coolhorsegirl too. My first Coolhorsegirl got hacked by a porn bot. And you can always text me, and I'm happy to answer any questions. And thank you.